Audio Jungle.
Florida's governor mobilized National Guard troops, and thousands of Gulf Coast residents were ordered to evacuate on Monday, 2 days before Hurricane Michael was forecast to slam ashore with life-threatening waves, winds, and rains. Michael is continuing to intensify, and storm surge and hurricane warnings are in effect for the northeastern Gulf Coast. By 11 p.m. Monday, Michael's top sustained winds were around 90 miles per hour as it headed north at 12 miles per hour. "We are running out of time. Today is the day to get a plan, because tomorrow could be too late," Florida Governor Rick Scott tweeted on Monday. The National Hurricane Center says the storm is located about 450 miles south of Apalachicola, Florida. Hurricane force winds extend out up to 35 miles, and tropical storm force winds outward about 175 miles. Forecasters say the center of Michael will continue to move over the southeastern Gulf of Mexico Monday night, and then moved across the eastern Gulf of Mexico Tuesday into the evening. A storm surge warning is in effect for the Okaloosa-Walton County line to the Anklet River in Florida. A hurricane warning is in effect for the Alabama-Florida border to the Suwannee River in Florida. Earlier on Monday, Michael was packing sustained winds of up to 85 miles per hour and gaining strength as it skirted past Cuba's western tip en route to a likely Wednesday landfall as the most powerful storm to strike the Florida Panhandle in at least a decade. Currently ranked as a Category 1 storm on the 5-step Saffir-Simpson wind scale, Michael could grow into a Category 3, becoming the second major hurricane in the Atlantic Basin this year following Florence last month, forecasters said. The storm is expected to unleash coastal storm surges of up to 12 feet along Florida's panhandle and dump as much as a foot of rain across Florida, Georgia, and South Carolina, the National Hurricane Center reported. Scott, who called Michael the most destructive storm to hit the Florida Panhandle in decades, declared a state of emergency in 35 counties along Florida's Panhandle and Big Bend regions. Hurricane Michael is a massive storm that could bring total devastation to parts of our state, especially the Panhandle, Scott said. "There's no excuse, you've got to keep your families safe." Mandatory evacuations were underway in coastal areas, with 1,250 National Guard soldiers aiding the process, and more than 4,000 troops placed on standby, Scott tweeted. The Florida Panhandle needs to be prepared for a direct hit with sustained hurricane-force winds, Scott wrote on Twitter on Monday. This storm will bring torrential rain, heavy winds and dangerous storm surges to many areas of our state, he tweeted. Every family must be prepared. "We can rebuild your home, but we cannot rebuild your life," Scott said. In Gulf County alone, the first to begin ordering residents of low-lying areas to higher ground, mandatory evacuation notices encompassed an estimated 3,800 homes, said Jessica Sasich of the county's Emergency Operations Center. Many are located in the coastal town of Port St. Joe. the county's largest municipality, lying directly in the hurricane's projected path, she said. In neighboring Alabama, Governor Kay Ivey declared an emergency for the entire state on Monday in anticipation of wind damage, heavy rains and power outages. As the storm moved north, it battered Mexico's Yucatan Peninsula and western Cuba with drenching rains and winds of up to 80 miles per hour, the Miami-based Hurricane Center said. Torrential downpours and flash flooding over the weekend caused 13 deaths in Central America after Michael formed off the coast of northern Honduras. In Florida, state offices, schools and universities were set to close on Tuesday through the end of the week in Panhandle counties. Some beach town residents were left to decide on their own for the time being whether to leave their homes. I haven't made up my mind yet, but I know some of my staff are going, said Dave Trepanier, owner of Firefly, a restaurant a block from the beach in Panama City, Bay County, an area where the hurricane is expected to come ashore. Lines at gasoline stations were growing long in Panama City as people prepared to leave areas under mandatory evacuation, Trepanier said. Hurricane Michael would be the first major hurricane to hit the Panhandle since Hurricane Dennis in 2005, which made landfall near Pensacola, according to Hurricane Center data. After striking Florida, Michael is forecast to move up the east coast on Wednesday and Thursday, plowing through the Carolinas, still recovering from Hurricane Florence last month. Energy companies halted nearly a fifth of Gulf of Mexico oil production and evacuated personnel from 10 platforms on Monday. The Gulf of Mexico is home to 17% of daily U.S. crude oil output and 5% of daily natural gas output, according to the U.